Greetings and welcome to Until the Last Gasp, the Extreme Metal Podcast. My name is Fraser. This is our first episode of 2022. Welcome back to all the listeners. Thanks for joining us again this year. This episode is a recording of a phone call that I had with Morbid Majnun Sade only just last week, and we're here just talking about art, life, music in general, and also here just to talk about his projects as well as the reissue that I've released with him of his 1999, I'm pretty sure it was, release of H.A.S.T.U.R, which was with his band Invocation at the time. Also, just if you want to get in contact with me, as always, look us up on Facebook at Until the Last Gasp Extreme Metal Podcast. Also have channels on YouTube, Rumble, and we also have a Spotify page as well, or Spotify channel. We also have a bunch of music up there for all the previous episodes where I've done in-depth looks into careers of other bands and musicians. So if you want to have a listen to some of the previous episodes that are on there, there's also a playlist called Until the Last Gasp Extreme Metal Playlist, which is available there for you to follow along with the different songs that I talk about. Now, without any further ado, this is my conversation with Morbid Majnun Sade of Invocation and Nun. Enjoy. All right, man. So, H.A.S.T.U.R was released 22 years ago. How does it feel looking back on your art now 2 decades on?
Still proud as hell of what we did. It's kind of a hazy little memory now, to be honest. So times have changed so much. The scene has changed. Music has changed. The world has changed. I look back on it with fuzzy feelings, you know. It's more about the era, the time, the scene back then, the stuff that was going on that it reminds me of. Musically, proud as hell that we achieved something. To be honest, I'm actually amazed that you guys were actually aware of us and that we're doing this today.
Oh, hell yeah. That shit's classic, man. I mean, it's so hard to get a hold of, so that's why I was like, when I first got in contact with you, I'm like, is there any plans? I mean, I haven't seen one of those CDs in years, absolute years. So I think I used to be in Modern Invasion. I think I saw one there probably about 13 years ago, just in one of the random boxes, and then I kind of didn't pick it up, and then I never saw it again. So I was like, I definitely need to get one of those. So, well, if not me, who? And if not now, when? So that's how we ended up doing this.
Well, with Invocation, we were more of a reaction to the situation we were in at the time, politically, religiously, and we were not really a band. We were not out to make fame. We were not out to make money. We were together for over 15 years. We only ever released 5 songs. Even the recordings, we weren't out to get a worldwide distribution deal. Yet we got one, but the record label fell apart. We've only ever played interstate twice. We were never looking for fame. We were just, an outlet for a venting system for a bunch of very frustrated guys.
Yeah. Is there any kind of significant events around that recording that kind of spurred that on? Like, is it an answer to anything that was in particular, or just a climate kind of thing?
Many lineups.
Yeah.
By the time we got to the recording, different guitarists, bass players, and every time it fluctuates, things change. All of a sudden, we got Mr. Nomad on guitars, and that CD is actually our 11th rehearsal with him.
No joke.
Yep. All of a sudden, things started to sound the same.
Yeah.
Every weekend, things started to tighten up, and it's like, man, I've got to capture this before something goes wrong.
Yeah, 100%. That's insane.
Yeah.
Do you keep in contact with either Nomad or Ursurpurs?
On Facebook, we're all friends.
Yeah.
I don't really see him that often at the big gigs.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're still friends. We kind of communicate still, but we're not best buddies anymore. You know, we were teenagers back then.
Yeah.
But no ill feelings.
Well, you've had 15 years since your last live show too. Has there been any urge to kind of get that back together for any kind of string of shows, or do you feel that? Do you feel like it could even be possible for a band like Invocation, as what it was, to exist in a climate today?
Hell no.
Fair enough.
Oh man, we came from. We had to build our own gigs. We had to find the venues that would take us on. Everything was a struggle, man, back in our day, and everything was frustrating. You couldn't go anywhere without getting police harassment. The public didn't take too well to anybody in a battle jacket with long hair. We come from the time when if you had both your ears pierced, you were a faggot and stuff like this.
Yeah, right.
In this day and age, man, what I find amusing, thrash is back.
Yeah.
And all the kids play it really well, and they've got the same big smiles that thrash had back then. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Invocation was anything but happy.
Yeah.
We were violently angry. We were opposed to everything that society stood for. In this day and age, I am still active as a musical artist kind of thing, but it's nothing like what Invo ever was. Completely different attitude. I did some vocals with a band about 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago called Morbid.
Yeah.
That's moved on into Bone Marrow and Pestilence these days.
Right.
And we were together for about a year or so, played a few shows, and man, 10 years after doing an Invo gig, wow, it hurts, man. Gigs hurt. Playing live is hard work, man. I should have gotten all about that.
Well, that's the thing, I guess, isn't it? When you're younger and you can just throw caution to the wind. You can get out there.
We did Invo from about 17 to mid to late 20s, so we didn't know any different. All of a sudden, you have a break for 10 years, and it's like, man, where did we get the adrenaline from?
Yeah.
All in anger.
Well, I guess because you guys were never ones to shy away from provocation, controversy, and all those kind of extremities live with, the rituals and bloodlettings and, I say the old ones are you cutting sigils into your skin and all the animal heads, which is a part of the performances. Oh, yeah. And I mean, you got kind of a very visually expressive live show now, even more so. You've kind of taken it up a notch with None. With the body piercings and acts of flagellation and ritual and all that. Is there any difference in the expression this time around, or a continuation of your previous ideas with Invocation? Just is it a part about you that you're expressing even more so into those kind of depths, or is it like as a continuation, or is it a new thing for you to venture into?
Well, we put Invo to rest when it just lost its cause. Different personalities, different goals, and it lost its purpose. Then to getting another taste for music through singing with the guys from Morbid. I have the black flame inside. It's still burning. I'm still the same Morbid from back then. Nun is the same expression. Just instead of going forward, we've moved sideways. And watching a lot of the old extreme black metal guys from Europe and stuff, they also do other performance art pieces.
True. Yeah.
I also pull influence from Chris Hades with his solo stuff on guitar. I looked at all those guys and I went, as a vocalist, what can I do?
Yeah.
Nun's a weird little ditty. It's got music, but it's also got other things.
Well, it's like a huge ritual thing too, isn't it? From like what I've seen. I mean, I've seen a lot of the photos, so it looks like it's just this giant black mass that's happening. Like you can just basically fit out whatever venue you're in and turn it almost into a black mass cathedral with the amount of stuff you got for it. It's visually impressive.
That's basically what we do.
Yeah.
The real goal isn't really live performances because fuck the world, fuck people, fuck all y'all. We don't care.
Yeah.
We want to shoot a video.
Yeah, right.
We want to show people what we actually get up to when nobody's fucking looking. I'm sick of seeing bands standing in the forest, plugged in with their little fucking robes on, going, yeah, man, we're so evil. It's like, but you're not doing anything. You're fucking jamming, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of moved past 1993 where, you know, the dudes that were in the forest, you know, their extracurricular activities were kind of the things that made people fear them. It's like now it's everyone's just standing on the shoulders of giants and, you know, they have no credibility for themselves. So I definitely get what you mean.
So it's, and then you get the new Satanism.
Yeah.
You know, fucking atheistic Satanism. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's a bit odd.
If you don't believe in anything, why do you have to grab my fucking Dark Lord and disgrace fucking 2 centuries worth of hard work? That is becoming the fucking, you know, the harbour of lost souls, man. If you're extreme, like, you know, serial killers, death, fucking evil, darkness, fucking.
It's that thing with modern culture, though, isn't it? Because you can see like the Kardashians wearing Morbid Angel t-shirts. So when you can see people in the, like, you know, mainstream culture embracing extreme metal stuff as t-shirts as a fashion, that's where you can kind of say it's like, oh, well, they believe Satan's cool, even though they don't understand anything about it. It's just appropriating.
People actually think that Satan isn't real. Satanism is all about equality, LGBTQ, and fucking respect for everybody. With Anton LaVey, it's even, you know, fucking value life, respect, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, it's not, man. Satanism is elitism. Satanism is, I am better than all you all. These are fucking stepping stones towards my fucking throne that I'm going to sit on. You know, that's like, evil is evil.
Yeah.
Evil's not nice. So, but after looking at black metal becoming, like Satan becoming a farce, extreme metal just becoming a fad, it's, yeah, I'm trying to re-envision the black flame from the early 90s where people would cross the road for extreme metalheads with extreme views. Nowadays, we kind of blend in with all these other people that now wear black and satanic symbols, but none of them actually go home and do anything.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it used to be the thing, you couldn't get a job if you were in the extreme metal, you know?
So with Nun, we're trying to, we're doing some live performances so that people can see what we do.
Yeah.
But really, we're doing them performances to film so we can edit them all together and then we can release to the people what a fucking black mass is, man.
Yeah.
It's no more about fucking singing, yeah, man, Satan's cool, I'm sitting on my dark throne, fucking hell the forest. We're going to bring to you the exact words, the exact fucking bells, the exact sounds. We're going to give you a fucking black mass and a ritual. Yeah. All you have to do is put the needle down on the record, light your candle, focus, concentrate, and shit will happen. That's what we're going to bring to the table now.
Well, I've seen that you've also had some...
We're not called invocation. We are giving you a working invocation.
Yeah, right, yeah. So, yeah, that's a good way to put it. So the one was the band invocation, now you get the actual invocation.
Yep.
And you've had some collaboration with guys like H.A.S.T.U.R doing some of your visual art stuff and all that too before I've seen, and they had similar, like, I guess they've got some kind of similar ideas as you would probably have, I guess, like with performances and, you know, they've also been targeted for some of their elements in their music in the press and by animal activism and, you know, I guess you guys would have had a pretty shared history only being, probably 10 years later than one another or 15 years later, going through the same shit. So you have pretty much a bonding experience there. Is there any more collaboration-y kind of things that you guys have mulled over? Because I do see you do their jewellery and stuff too.
Well, we just clicked.
Yeah.
I got to meet them through Necro Butcher. I'm friends with him. Yeah. Obviously, we've communicated before, like as a stage manager at Soundwave, that was the first time we got to meet, but that's more on the work time, you know. Yeah. When they toured with Mayhem, that's when we actually got to sit down, hang out, and we clicked rather well. I guess also Retain are really good friends with Vomitor. Vomitora from Brisbane.
Yep.
I grew up with those guys. We've, good friends with all the members. We've all, like I said, we've all grown up. Obviously, Nomad is now a guitarist in Vomitora as well, so there's more links. Through them, they kind of knew about me already. And yes, very similar in goals, what we feel metal is, what we feel about many things. So as soon as we met, he's like, "Oh, you're this guy." Funny story with Set. When I met Set, he gave me the whole rundown of my whole history. Like, that guy's a little walking encyclopedia.
No joke.
Yeah.
You just end up looking over your shoulder now to see if he's still there taking notes.
It's just funny, oh, so you're Morbid, you were Invocation, and you lived up the road from Rob and Vomitor, and you know this and that, and you did the shop, and you did Book of Blasphemy, and it's like, holy hell, man, how did you know all that? It's very funny.
Considering it's like, an ocean and a continent and this and that and extra away, that's unbelievable to have that much.
I'm guessing it's also my lyrical inspirations are the same as their lyrical inspirations.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we all looked for the similar stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks like they found something worthy within my words, and they remembered Invo. So same with myself. I don't really look for new stuff and don't think too much of what the latest bands are doing.
Yeah.
But when I came across Watain, it's like, man, look at these guys, read their interviews, because we were in the same zines and shit after our album came out, and I was doing interviews. I started seeing interviews with Watain in the zines that we were in, and they were still real, keeping it real, the early 90s real, the satanism, grave robbing, the fucking being elite and evil.
Well, that's the thing too, isn't it? Like, they've kind of, where you guys used to get targeted in the past by, like, I guess you'd say, high society kind of big nose or brown nosing people and the religious thing. Now you got those guys going out getting targeted by activists.
Yep.
It's like, it's that same thing. It's like, if you're doing something, people will take notice, because generally, if you're doing it right, people are going to have take issue with real, I guess you'd say, underground satanic evil music.
Yeah.
It's like, all the big bands of the past, they didn't kind of get their credentials from just kind of being good old boys and taking their grens to church on Sundays and then painting their faces. So,
that's it.
I guess that's the weird thing too.
Even in the early days of Morbid Angel, they were cutting themselves up. They on one of their tours, they took a skull on tour that was a dug-up priest.
I didn't even know that. That's unreal. Yeah, they were crazy back in the day. Like, they had that whole thing too. They had the needles, the bloodletting. I think it was the first two records, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny how, I guess when you're doing that many shows and traveling that many continents, it's kind of hard to try and keep that up unless you want to be a patchwork of absolute scars. But I think it's that same thing with, like, what I guess Shining was saying too. When you have to just cut yourself because people expect it of you, it's no longer your expression, it's other people.
Well, in my case, it used to help me turn into I'm the sacrifice, and Majnun, my middle name, is the empty vessel. He possessed by jinn.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want to turn into. So ritual before stage, the cutting is to get rid of the person that's being cut, if that makes sense. You leave the shell, and in comes the person that don't mind being cut. The cutter, the sadist.
But that's the thing too. It's your expression. It's not that people come there expecting you to do it. And if you decided that wasn't going to be a part of your expression anymore, you wouldn't just continue to do it just because other people expect it. It's like, it is that part of you that does it, rather than other people's expectation on you to do what you...
A lot of times you hear people after us going, "Oh, what's that shit all over his face?" And not knowing that I've just cut open my handline and I've actually just been bleeding from my head.
We've come a long way in the days of extreme metal, haven't we?
Oh,
People,
yeah.
what's that red stuff? It's like, well, where are you, mate? They're not handing out jam sandwiches at the door. Maybe people should, I don't know. I think people we used to go to gigs and have people throwing dead mice and stuff out. I remember I was in Footscray and people, guys sitting behind a drum riser started throwing a bag of dead rats into the audience, hitting people in the face with dead mice, I was just like, yeah, all right, that's what they do.
Well, when Cannibal Corpse came the first time in early 90s, we took brains and kidneys and threw them at them on the stage. Because, come on, it's Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
You've got to have brains somewhere because they sing about it. And they're on the album covers. So, yeah, we threw fucking animal bits at them.
Yeah, fair. I mean, that's what there's all talk about in the 80s too, with Aussie and the meat fights and everything like that. So, that's all the extreme shit for its day. It's always that thing. And now it's like, Ozzy Osbourne now is not even considered extreme in his day. He was, and people were throwing butchered cuts of meat, dead bats, and all kinds of crazy shit. Yeah. So you kind of go, well, he wasn't even trying to express any of these kind of dark and extreme things. It was just around him. And now you got all these people professing all this shit. It's the most homogenized shit in the world. I definitely get what you're saying there, but it's also too, I guess, with you've done the music and you're doing the visual expressive stuff in your performances, but you also do a lot of pieces, because I don't know if people will know. I mean, I guess they will when they see the new artwork. That was all your pieces that you've done, your sigils, and compiled of all your own artwork and things like that. I just kind of arranged it and dropped it into place. So all of those sigils there, they're all your hand drawings. And I've seen some of your other stuff. Hand draw like altar tables and everything like that. So it's like and books and things like that. So you got like also another form of artwork there. Do you have anything that you're really proud of in that kind of thing, or is it something that's like more personal, or is it something that you get out there a bit more? Just your sigil work and all that stuff. Is that something that you kind of make for yourself, or
the magical stuff? That's just practically out of necessity. You can't go to a shop and buy yourself a personalised altar top.
True.
If somebody else makes it for you, they'll do it wrong, and it's flat. It's got no energy in it. Unless you get a magical person to do it, but they'll tell you, do it yourself.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. Proud of artwork. Nah, not really.
Yeah.
I feel more lucky than proud. I'm just happy as fuck that I got to help out some of the coolest people. It was an honour to build props with Pain and help us, the boys from Mayhem.
Yeah.
Book covers, of course, that's cool. I've done a few album covers too. Neo-Caesar, my God. The album cover for the Dutch band Neo-Caesar, previous members from Sinister.
Okay.
They hit me up with the design. The singer, he sent me some information, like what he would like in it. And all up, it took me nearly 4 months to put this thing together for him.
Jesus, yeah, it's a labour of love.
All hand drawn. Oh, man, yeah. Look it up. It's a good album. Plug. Neo-Caesar. Album's called 1111. Came out 2 years ago. Good Dutch death metal with amazing artwork on the front cover and all throughout. Anyways, yeah, I did that front cover, and I did personalized sigils for each member.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, as far as proud of achievements, that one has to be up there.
Fantastic. And so with all that kind of like your sigils and all those things, does it play into any of your philosophy or the spiritual role in your life? Like, what would you describe as your life philosophy or spiritual self, and what role does that have in your day-to-day experience?
Well, I wouldn't call myself a Satanist. I wouldn't call myself I don't know. Let's say I'm a student of the dark arts, practitioner sometimes. How does it translate to daily life? Well, after you start looking into magic and stuff, you kind of realize that there's laws of attraction, mind over matter, and simple things like that.
Yeah.
You've been into it for, if you get into it by the time you're a teenager, by the time you're in your 20s, there's certain things you just do that you go by. You follow the flow. You wake up with a positive thought. You try to, it's no longer magic. Then as it comes to sigils and rituals, and now we get into summonings and different things. That's more personal. That's for wants and needs. That's to force things to come, to obey your will, kind of thing. Day to day, you don't want to spend that much energy, man. You just want to wake up, have a positive day, come home in one piece, and relax.
Yeah, gotcha.
You put some magical thought into that. You look for all the positives throughout the day. You don't want to be that moody cunt, You don't want to bring your bad weekend with your missus to work on the Monday. It's not really magical thinking, but it is.
Yeah.
Philosophy. I don't really have a philosophy. It's just there's us humans live with blinkers on, man. There's other perceptions out there and dimensions that we can tune into. All we have to do is focus. It's not that there's an invisible world out there. It's we're living within it. It's not out there. It's all around us. All we have to do is actually open our eyes properly to it.
Yeah, good point.
With eyes meaning not just the two in the front of the face. Talks about the one inside the head as well.
Yeah.
Evil is a human intent, just like goodwill. Everything you do is a choice. Wherever you end up is because of your decisions that you make. Nobody rules you but you. You can be nice, you can be a cunt. You don't have to be nice and you don't have to be a cunt. That's about it. All I've got as far as a philosophy goes. But don't waste life. It's fucking short. Live it at 110%. If you love something, then fucking do it hardcore. If you like metal, then pick up a fucking guitar. If you like extreme, then fucking go extreme. If you like fucking ice cream, then fucking be a fat cunt and eat 10 liters a fucking day, man.
Yeah.
And if you love something, then fucking go hard at it, man. Don't hold back.
It's almost a plug for Baskin and Robbins there, mate. I love that.
You know what I mean? Like, fucking don't hold back. It's a short life.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? None of us get out alive.
Yeah. And who knows, man? Maybe you're actually good at what you fucking dream of being.
Yeah. I guess that's it, isn't it? It's discipline and passion.
Well, I was into metal. I never picked up an instrument.
Yeah. Yeah, but then through that, I mean, it's kind of channeled everything, hasn't it? It's gone. You've got visual, you're very physical with everything that you make handmade, your artwork, your lyrics, you kind of, even though you don't have an instrument, 100% of your output is your creation.
Oh, yeah, but you know what I mean? Fucking, I kind of thought I was a forgotten band, a kind of underground artist that paints in blood and does a few things here and there, but what do you know? An Invocation interview today.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's that thing. Once
something right.
the world's kind of lacking in all of that now. Everybody's looking for, and I guess everybody's tweeting, and you've been without doing interviews. Or putting your videos up of yourself just having a chat and things like that. Like, people like yourself are pretty much, there's no new ones really replacing it except for a few exceptions. But none of
the internet's kind of killed it all.
Yeah.
And popularity.
I full know that with the irony that I'm here recording you for an internet thing, but
metal had an image. Bands had rock and roll had this dreamlike thing about it. People never got to see what went on backstage or at the hotel rooms or whatever. So, you know, just like in the 70s, you had Kiss with the makeup on. What did they look like without the makeup?
Yeah.
Well, that's what the early 90s were like when we got to see the pictures of Emperor and Mayhem and all that. It's like, what do they really look like?
Yeah, true.
We didn't know that they went home, wore thick woolen jumpers, throw a log on the fire and eat some rotten tuna out of a fucking can.
I guess it's that thing like you said, though, you know, you can't do that shit all the time. Sometimes you just go home from work and kick back.
So when the internet comes out, it's kind of hard to, after you've done all the interviews and stuff, to put your evil face back on and make it seem real.
Yeah, it's a bit too candid after someone's been watching you eat plum pudding or something on TikTok and having your nan plant a kiss on your head and all this stuff, and then, you know, log into their band page the next minute and start espousing misanthropy. It's just like, yeah, rings a bit fucking hollow, you know?
Yep. So, yeah, they, and hence, I'm not a big fan of it. Most of us older guys aren't. But it serves a purpose, I suppose.
Yeah, so then getting to something too, when it comes to like doing the creative thing, because it's like with Nun, you have to have a collective amount of people to do those live shows. Is it kind of a collaborative effort on their behalf for the music that is in there, or is it just they're there to help be kind of a vessel for what you're creating? And also, do you have any kind of strict protocol in a sense, or how you would pick someone kind of has to, you know, there's a certain mentality, or not just, you know, being the guy that's able to play the thing isn't necessarily always, you know, the most, I guess you say the candidate with the most, what would you call it?
Well, there's a kind of a band lineup. Yeah. Kind of. And then there's what we call acolytes.
Right.
They're just our inner circle of friends. Depending on the day, it could. The very first one we did was for Marky Hardcore's book launch, and Marky Hardcore is like a member of the Levian Church of Satan. We're good friends. We go way back. He's got a spiritual feel about things, but it was as a favour to him. But as a return favour, it's like, well, fuck you. Put on a robe. You're part of the show now, cunt. Yeah.
So it's basically, you know, the vetting process is you generally know most of these people beforehand.
Yeah,
you're not.
Good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a more of an inner circle of friends and people that, you know, like-minded individuals, not so much getting out there and looking for people.
Oh, nah. And funniest bit, we get offers for people that want to be nuns.
Yeah, right.
Who would have thought? Years ago.
Do you have anywhere to direct any of these people, any of these ladies?
They're all local metal chickies. But yeah, I don't know. So some of them are into body mods, I suppose, and any opportunity to for a free session, I suppose.
Yeah, fair. And everyone's doing their thing.
But if it comes to once the videos come out, you'll see the nuns are there as the sacrifices.
Yeah, sweet.
Because, you know, no harm to animals and all that. When we got them, there was no spiritual or fucking magical fucking requirements. The only requirements was, hey man, are you willing to put on a nun's outfit and hang from hooks?
Yeah, right.
And they went, yeah.
Like that thing that you were saying, like when you have your blood letting, I mean, I guess that's their participation in it too. Yeah. Part of the sacrifice towards it.
And well, once it all gets released, there was a fair bit of blood went into the show.
Yeah. Well, so finally with that, I mean, if you've got the nun stuff and say you're pretty active with all of that right now, get everything sorted out and sending things around the world, do you have anything in store for 2022? Like, is that, I guess, going to be your focus for 2022, getting that released and out? And
yeah, at least the filming, hopefully.
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess with the world being what it is and lockdowns and restrictions, it's kind of hard when everyone's afraid of a virus. What are your ideas? Well, I want to set up and then have blood everywhere and people in close proximity bleeding around everyone. It's kind of it definitely isn't something that people in the modern world would kind of look at in any favourable way. So,
real world doesn't. Real world, whatever. There's whatever society's doing out there doesn't hinder what we do. Now with technology, we can do the editing ourselves. We can do the filming ourselves. All any long shots that we needed, we've got. So we don't need a live setting anymore.
So you're basically just putting the last touches on in your own time. You don't need to have the participation of anyone else from, I guess, an audience type setting. Yeah, right. Did you have any ways that people can kind of, I guess the best way to do it right now, we've definitely got to plug the Nun stuff. If you got a few links you want to just have some people subscribe to or anything, if you want them to follow you?
Not really.
No, if they find it, they find it.
We have a Facebook page. We're called Nun, but it's Nun. Spells none, which is funny in itself. It's actually a Hebrew letter, which is spelled by 3 Hebrew letters, and 2 of them being Nun.
There we go. Well, mate, I think that's all I've got time here for today. But thanks so much for joining me on this one, and thanks so much for entrusting me with the Invocation reissue. It's been really awesome working with you on that, mate.
I'd like to give thanks to you guys until the last gasp for even fucking thinking of Invocation in the first place. To anybody else listening, woof, woof, the howl of the wolf, man. Be like the wolf. Don't follow society standards. Be wild. Be forever. Be free.
I think that's where we're going to leave it, mate. Thanks very much. Take care.
Cheers, man. Hails to you and your clothes.
You too, bro. There you have it. That was my phone conversation with Morbid Majnun Sade. Very raw and old school on a phone, sitting on a box in front of a microphone because technology is not our friend. But we got there in the end, and I guess, keeps with the old school aesthetic, which is what we're all about. There is some of those H.A.S.T.U.R EPs available, and there will be some signed copies that will be going up very soon. A little bit higher price than the actual standard editions, but that's kind of to be expected. How many of these do you think you're going to see? I'm only getting 10 done, and if you think you're going to find Morbid, you're probably going to be up for a bit of a hard task. So get onto them if you want one. They should be available very soon. Also, I'm going to have a live a stream, I guess you would say, of the full release that is available to listen to on YouTube soon. So check that out, and if it floats your boat, go and have a look before they're all sold out. But as always, until next time, stay safe, keep it evil, and support metal until the last gasp. Cheers.